Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Reset Coffee Convos. Okay, it's going to be a good day. Got my friend Jim Snook here, and Jim, give him a big round of applause. Okay, let's do that first. There's other applause in here because if you hear applause in the background or if you hear grinders or people talking, it's because we're actually doing this live from Reset this morning and we're open.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So people are going to be walking in and out of here. How are you doing today, man?
I'm good. Yeah. Looking forward to a good day, especially getting somewhat back to normal.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to that day.
Actually, one of my employees yesterday said, today felt kind of more normal. And I'm like, good. That's what we want to hear. I don't want to get back to a new normal. I want to get back to normal.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody wants it to be normal. And we're talking in terms of the COVID thing. There's a lot of unrest in the world right now. We want, that's a separate issue. But as far as what's going on with the COVID and all of our tables being weird and all of the guidelines and cleansing and sanitizing, and I want to get back to normal.
In a food business, we do that anyways. We're always cleaning.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course, but it's really ramped up, like with having to wipe down every touchable surface every time you see somebody
absolutely
touch it, And if kids, well, you've got a lot of kids coming into a candy store, so
oh yeah,
everything is so appealing to touch.
Right.
That's good, man. I'm glad that you're doing this here today. Now, your parents started Snook's Candies in the 60s, right? Not in this location, but
in Sacramento, 1963. They opened up. It was actually in Arden Fair, which is now Market Square, but it was called the Food Circus. So it was kind of one of the first kind of food court ideas. It had all these restaurants with a central dining room, really big dining room. And people would come there and they could choose whatever they want to eat and then go pick a table and eat.
Huh. And did they have, at that time, well, maybe I should just ask you, how have you seen Snook's Candies change through the years then?
My gosh. We were there. I started there when I started college. I was working another job. And then when I started college, my dad said, hey, if you want to learn how to make candy and we can work around your schedule at school. And I thought, well, okay, and I had worked at the candy store just a little bit here and there, but not a lot because I had another job. And so anyways, I started learning the craft of confectionery, which is what my dad taught me. And it was very, well, especially back then, he had only been open for 12 years. He had, a certain line of candies, and there just was a lot of room for extra things, creativeness, I would say. So I got that creative bug. I loved, thinking of things and just creating things. And it became something I really enjoyed. And we're a lot different now, for sure. In fact, my dad, he says, wow, you've done a lot. And I says, I do have the advantage of second generation. I didn't start this. I instantly was trained by him how to make candy. He had to just kind of learn, So that's the cool part about generational. You kind of just see it grow. It's neat.
Yeah, so talk about, what are your fondest memories then as a child being in your dad's?
Gosh, a couple of, regarding the business and the candy store, couple of memories. One of them was, I remember going to school and getting like licorice, those 3-foot long licorice ropes from my dad and taking them to school and selling them.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And I think, you think about it, I think we were selling them for like 10 cents a piece or something. I mean, back then you were talking, it would have been in the early 70s.
Okay.
And these things weren't that expensive. So anyways, kids would ask me, hey, could you bring us, and I would, and I'd sell them for really cheap, but I remember that was a fond memory. The other memory I have is being that we were in the food circus on weekends. When I started, I was pretty young. We would have these the buses come in there. They would stop coming from the Bay Area, going to Reno, Tahoe, either the gamblers or we would get the skiers. So we would get these ski buses and they would pull up with just these piles of kids. We might get 20 buses. Well, of course, the kids like candy.
Yeah.
So they would just come all to our store, and literally my dad would set buckets up because they'd be pulling these dollar bills out of their pockets. They were wet, they were just crumpled, and we're just like, throw them in the bucket, and give them their change, and just as fast as you could go because they only had a limited time.
Yeah.
And then they would leave and we'd have this bucket full of crumpled dollars and we'd have to sit there and flatten them all out. And I think about that. It was hilarious. Even at the time as a young person, I remember, this is crazy. We're just like throwing money in a bucket, but it was fun.
That is super fun. Now, when you took the licorice to school, were you heisting it from your dad and jacking up the price, or did he know you?
I think, I'd go in and work and he'd let me take some stuff, So I don't know if I was heisting it, but I don't remember thinking I'm stealing. So,
right.
But maybe I worked for it,
Oh, that is so great. We used to, as kids, sell toothpicks that were like drenched in cinnamon oil.
I did that.
You make them at home and like take them.
Oh, yeah.
The kids with, and then they had to put a stop to it because kids were getting like blisters on their lips and.
Yeah. Oh, cinnamon is pretty. We make cinnamon candy here, and you don't want to get that stuff on your skin.
No.
It's potent. Yeah.
No, man, those are great memories. I love that. Now there's 3 generations of Snooks that have either worked or are still working.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Stuff, right.
Right.
So do any of your kids have the confection affection? Are they gonna be there continuing?
Yeah. Well, Eric, our oldest, he started out coming to our first location in Folsom. He'd ride his bike down here. We used to live about 4 miles from here. He'd ride down and he used to scrub the floors, and that's kind of how he got started to earn some money. And then he started to learn the candy making, and now he can do everything. I mean, he makes anything we need. What's cool is we make a lot of stuff now. Like when I started, there was a few key things I had to learn, but that was it. And now we've developed, I spent years, and my older brother and I actually, back in those days, he came on for a while, and we developed a lot of products. So for Eric to learn as the 3rd generation, it was a lot more stuff. But now it's so cool because I can say, hey, make this. And he makes it. And I'm like, dang, this is awesome. And then he's even added some of his own little touches, to things, which is great. So he has that creative bug as well. So to give you an example, I was down at the farmer's market, and this has been probably 3 or 4 years ago. And I saw these little peppers in a bag, and they were red. And I said to the guy, what are those? And he goes, oh, those are jalapeno or habaneros. And I go, oh, I thought habaneros were orange. He goes, yeah, well, these ones are red, but they're habaneros. And he had like 3 little bags. And so I go, I'll take all of them, because Eric likes that hot pepper. So the very next day was Sunday. I was off. Renee and I were out and about. And I get this text message with a picture, and it was caramel. And the caption said, habanero caramel. And so what he did is he took the peppers and he juiced them, and he made an extract and put it in the caramel. And it was fabulous. So anyways, now he makes habanero lime caramel corn on special occasions. And then we do the salted habanero caramels. And then we came out with also a mango habanero truffle, which is, because habaneros, even though if you can get past the heat, they're kind of fruity. There's a fruitiness to them. So with the mango, it goes great. So with that, it's not as hot. The habanero salt caramels are hotter. The mango, you get the fruit, and then you kind of like, I'm not getting the heat, and then all of a sudden it hits you. So you get the heat finally on it. But so it's a great experience. So those are the things that he kind of, I want to try some things.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, go for it. I love it. The
Is it,
creativeness is
do you
fun.
have any of that habanero stuff down there right now, or is that going to
Yeah. Oh, I
my
do.
eye open?
No, we have the habanero, both mango habanero and habanero salted caramels. Yeah, we have both of those. If you want it hotter, get the caramel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, guess who's getting some of my money today? You, my friend. That's awesome. Now, did you ever aspire to do anything outside of the candy business, or did you just know this is my calling?
You know, when I was in college and I started working in the business, it kind of moved me towards business related education. I mean,
All
I
right.
had other things, but I didn't really have that thing. Like I know exactly what I'm going to do. So the cool part was being in the family business, and at a very young age, I was cutting payroll checks, figuring, back then we had to get the little book out and the chart and figure out the deductions and everything. And
Yeah.
so it was great because I was in school going, oh, I can completely relate this. So, trying to go into studies that you're not sure what you're going to do, I would find that hard in a relating factor. Like if it's something you're into, oh, I can apply all these things I'm learning immediately. So that was cool. So yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of things. I think I've thought of things I could have done, but this is my chosen thing, and I put everything, into it. My family, my wife and I, a lot of years of hard work.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Do you feel like, so, I mean, I can learn a lot from you because we're a family in business as well. And it's pretty all consuming at this stage in the game. I mean, we're new to this venture of Reset, but how do you guys reset? How do you, breathe?
Well, and you're right. And having a family business, it does make it difficult as a family. Hey, let's all go do this, because we're open 7 days a week, our place. And, in the earlier days, it was tough. We were here a lot. So to reset, now my kids are grown. I mean, we did take a few family vacations where we could get away for like a week, but otherwise we would do a lot of quick trips. Like my parents actually had a candy store my parents opened in Tahoe City. So when my kids were young, the grandkids, my wife and I were running the Folsom store. We could take a weekend and go, let's go to grandma and grandpa's. And so we did a lot of that. We'd go up for 2 days. And those were kind of our resets when the kids were young. Now that the kids are old, shoot, they're all doing their own thing. So for my wife and I, it's more, hey, let's go drive and, go to dinner, or let's go to a different town and, visit and see some other places. And it's really good to do that also because as a business, you get inspiration from other places. So, it's hard to do it if you're in the trenches, right? But if you can get out of the trenches and go, you can get these ideas and apply them at your own place. So, So individually for me, I would say as just myself, resetting for me is jumping on my motorcycle. I get on my motorcycle and everything else evaporates for that moment, and that I can do that in an hour, go jump on it, take a ride, maybe with a friend, go grab some breakfast somewhere, ride home and finish my day.
Yeah. Oh, so that's your bike. I saw parked like on the sidewalk around the corner.
Yeah, well, it might've been my son's. He rides like a sport bike and I ride a cruiser. So it just depends. His bike's here probably almost every day right now.
Okay.
And I don't ride mine that often here. Occasionally I do. But yeah, you'll see it on the side.
Yeah. Okay. It was his I saw yesterday because I rode my Harley down here yesterday and I walked right. I went, oh, whose bike is that?
Great. What do you ride?
I've got a Sportster. It's a 1200 XL Custom. So it's It's super fun. It's really chromed out.
Oh yeah.
I can't
Well,
ride
hey,
those big, huge bikes. I'm a little guy. You know what I mean? It's like, so it's a
yeah.
small bike, and it feels great. But those 1200s, man,
Oh, it's fast.
oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to do a little ride, and I'll have to turn you on to a guy I follow on YouTube. He's awesome. He's a motor cop out of Florida, and this guy made my riding ability exponentially improve.
Wow.
Stuff you don't learn in the safety course.
Oh,
So I was, especially being on a big bike, my bike's 850 pounds,
yeah.
you know, and with the stuff I've learned from him, especially the slow maneuvering, unbelievable.
Oh,
Yeah,
well, that's good.
really helps.
Well, look at that. We didn't know this was going to turn into a motorcycle safety course today. This is
Yeah, yeah.
That's good. Well, so let's talk about your building for a minute, because
Sure.
it's iconic. Like if the phone book was still a big thing, there would probably be like maybe one of the three bridges on the front, or maybe the dam, maybe the train depot. But really, Snook's that that corner, that building would probably be the front of the phone
Yeah,
book.
well, you know, this was a work in progress, you know, generational over the years, because, you know, my parents started in Sacramento. We opened up in Folsom below the Hacienda. We were on that back corner where Marabou Salon is right now.
Oh, okay. I didn't know
And
that. I just learned
yeah,
something.
so that's where we started. We were there for 17 years. So we opened in 1985. So we were there 17 years. And
Okay.
then we moved to this building in 2002.
Okay.
So you know, it was years of hard work and struggle. And then what spurred us to move is the building was for sale. And I drove by it every day for like 8 months. And it just had this giant for sale sign. And of course they wanted a lot of money for it. So, but one day I was out on the street putting up some flags, you know, changing the flags in the median. And, you know, it was like a change from one season to the next. I'm out there doing this, and one of the merchants, another business owner, came out, and he happens to go, "Hey, did you hear they lowered that building $100,000?" And it like perked I'm like, huh, okay, well, maybe they're willing to go even less, right? So I called a real estate broker that I was actually working on. We were moving our home. We were going to move, and called him, and you know, came and looked at it, and it needed tons of work, and it still needs tons of work on the exterior. We basically gutted the inside, so we're at the point now we got to really do something to the outside. But you know, it's like little by little we're chipping away. So anyways, long story short, we called my accountant, started penciling out what we could do, and we ended up buying the building. So that, I was 44 at the time. So, you know, like 18 years ago, we did that. We've actually been here longer than we were at the first. That's a funny thing is, when we were at the other location, it seemed like we were there forever.
Yeah.
And we moved up here, and we've already been here longer than there, and it seems like it has just flown by. And I think it's part of aging. You know, when we're younger, the years kind of go slower, and as you get older, it's like, oh my gosh, where are the years? They're just zipping by.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I thought about that, like, wow, we've already been here longer than we were there. So, yeah.
How fun. So you mentioned the median as you were hanging flags in the median or whatever.
Yeah.
I remember those days because I used to play music out in the median, actually right outside of the where Reset is right now. And do you miss the median?
You know, I don't miss the median at all, because being up here, and being that I was involved in like decorating and doing things on the street, you know, the cars would park to unload, and people would drive up onto the median, then we'd break the sprinklers, then the grass would be dying. And I loved the trees though. Yeah, no, I loved it. But when we were in the process of, you know, all the stakeholders looking at how can we redo this, the revitalization, taking the median out, I knew this is the right thing to do. Number one, it's not historic. If you look back in
Sure.
old photos, there was no median.
Right.
And as you look down the street, you saw different trees of different sizes and everything. And I also thought, okay, in the future, looking long term, now they took out like 15 trees and they put back over 100 trees.
Mm.
So, you know, here we are. That was 2010, 10 years ago. Amazing. Now you look down the street and some of these trees have really grown.
Yeah.
And some of them they put in were already pretty big. But, you know, we're starting to get this crowning of trees as you look down. We've gained a lot more sitting areas. It's much more safe. And the other thing first thing I noticed after they did the streetscape, I was out sweeping outside and my neighbor across, Emily's, she was out sweeping. And we used to have this big planter between us so I could never see her. I don't know if you remember, there was a big brick or a rock planter.
Yeah.
I never could see her. So all of a sudden, she's out sweeping. Oh, hi. And to be honest, we felt closer together because she was there and there was nothing, not a barrier. And so, you know, losing the median, I feel like, because, you know, you used to play music out there.
Yeah.
We gained an amphitheater where now we have a stage and, you know, and we're in the process of working on a shade structure for that, which is going to help even better. So I just feel like, wow, you know, we're very fortunate to have done what we did when we did it, because that was all through the redevelopment, which is gone now.
Yeah.
So had we not done that, none of this would be like it is. And just like an antique car, if you don't take care of it, it's going to rust away. And so I think we did the right thing.
Yeah, that's good perspective, man. Because, you know, I think most people are resistant to change, but it's inevitable, and in some cases, it's absolutely necessary.
Right.
And so it's good to hear from someone like yourself who has been invested in the community for a long time and say, this is how we move forward. You know, there's going to be some changes that seem weird at first, but you know,
it is hard. It is hard. We knew it was going to be hard, but you know, you do have to have that vision of looking forward. And I saw, you know, they were always out there digging up the street. They have water lines breaking, gas lines leaking. I mean, I'm like, oh my God, they're digging up the street again because everything was old. And so now they've redone it all and it's fantastic. And so, you know, we can go for another 100 years or more with that infrastructure in place. So
that's good. Now, I'm sure there's, of course, you're proud of a ton of things with your company, but what are you most proud of with Snooks?
Yeah, you know, I saw that question, and probably one of the things I've realized by doing this so many years, and we hire a lot of young people. I think one of the coolest things is seeing somebody who's never had a job, a young person come in. You know, they may be shy, they may be not real sociable, and you look several months, a year later, they're like a complete different person. They just are so much more comfortable with people. And, you know, I love to see the growth in them.
Yeah.
And we talk to them when we hire them, and as you know, we're getting to kind of know them because they kind of almost become like family. I'm sure you're realizing that some of the people you have, they do become super important. They're a reflection of your vision.
Yeah.
And so they do become very important. And I just love to see the personal growth in a young person. And I really, being in a business like this where we're doing customer service, I think every young person, they would benefit by doing some customer service. You know, social things are good, like sports teams, getting together, all that social stuff, great. Get your kids involved, but servicing customers, unbelievable what it does for their personal growth, because, you know, you're dealing with mostly great people, but some challenging people.
Sure.
You know, you get the gamut. Some are just unbelievable. Like we've made some really, really great personal friends that were customers, you know? So but the kids, seeing them grow, that's probably the hugest thing.
I love that. Well, one of the big things we want to do with these coffee combos is bring the human element to
Right.
all of this, right? And so I really appreciate you saying those things, because I think customer service for all of us teaches us to see people as human beings. Right?
Absolutely.
They're not
Yeah.
coming in just so we can get their money or whatever. It's a
Right.
conversation. They have a story. They have a battle that they're
Right.
fighting, you know? And
Yeah.
so I appreciate what you're doing with the kids, and I see that in your employees. You're doing a good job, man.
Oh, thanks.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Well, we have some long-time employees. I mean, we have some here that've been here a long time,
Yeah,
and we're thankful. We feel fortunate, that we've had some, really good people, and they've stuck with us.
yeah, that's good. Now you're sitting underneath a sign that says "The Story of Chocolate" right now.
Oh, yeah.
And I love good stories. One of the reasons I love coffee or wine, one of the reasons I love
Right.
good scotch is that, like, the story behind those
Yeah.
things, the process and the history.
Right.
Um, tell us some chocolate stories. Tell us, kind of
Gosh,
a little bit.
chocolate, I think, is amazing. I mean, here it is. It's a fruit of a tree. It's these little seeds that are inside a pod. Think about all the uses for chocolate. They make drinks out of it. You make the chocolate bars. There's just a variety of things in different mannerisms that you can make chocolate. Starting from back in the day when basically they drank chocolate. There was no such thing as a chocolate bar,
Sure,
a couple hundred years ago. They would just grind it up and add some hot water and a little honey or some sweetener and maybe some cream. Yeah, and they would drink it. And in fact, chocolate, the demand is high. I mean, with all these, like, you have a coffee shop, you're making chocolate coffee drinks.
Oh yeah.
And the applications for chocolate are so good with flavorings as well, because chocolate really does take on flavorings very nicely.
Hmm.
And so I think that's the beautiful part about it. And it's a natural product. I mean, it grows. It's, kind of like wine or coffee.
Yeah.
You have to grow this stuff. So I would love to visit a cocoa farm,
Oh,
you know.
yeah. Do you have plans to do that?
I would love to. I just haven't, we take vacations like, well, let's go here, go there. But at some point we're going to, we got to go out of the country to visit a cocoa farm. It's not, I mean, there is only one place in America that cocoa grows, and that's in Hawaii. So, it has to be, in fact, we have the world down there. And this whole back wall was my wife's vision of the story of chocolate, where it grows. So that map of the world's got some colored in areas where it grows, which is fairly close to the equator. Within about 15 degrees of the equator is where the best cocoa grows. And then, of course, you got the workers in the field. And over there, we've got kind of a little thing about how it's, harvested and fermented. And there's a lot of process that goes along with the development of it. But, it's labor, it's hard work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Well, I'm going to have to come in and take a better look at that mural. And I love reading books about, like, the coffee process. So I'm going to pick up something on chocolate now. You're sparking my interest. I want to dive deeper into it. I think that'll be a good thing. Jim, what do you want to be remembered for here in Folsom? I mean,
Gosh,
we won't be around for a long time, but what do you want to, what's your legacy?
Yeah. I think the way my wife and I have always looked at us being here as a business, because we're not a need. It's not like gasoline. Oh, I gotta pick up some gas because I can't get somewhere. We're candy, ice cream. We produce a product. So I think for us, our vision has always been, like, number one, we want to make the best product we can make, because when you look at the pie of expenses, labor, overhead's really high. The actual cost of ingredients, we want to get the best because it's not that huge of a portion of the pie. And so to create the best product, but we want to help bring our little slice of vibrancy to Historic Folsom, because, like, seeing you open, we love that, because now you're bringing your little slice of vibrancy on top of what we bring. And you and I and all these other little places that are here, these just wonderful hop sings. And, you look down the street, all these iconic businesses over the years, we all together bring people, not one of us can draw them, but if we all can do our part. So we kind of look at it, if we can just do our part,
Yeah.
and bring some vibrancy and some fun and happy people, that's something that I think we would want to be remembered for, that we made it a fun place to come.
I love that. Is there anything I didn't ask you about today that you would love to tell the people?
Probably something I'm really, really proud of, and that's my granddaughter.
Oh.
So let's see, where's the camera here?
Yeah, you got it.
This is Nora May, and her middle name comes from her great-grandma, my mother, in 2016 was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and we lost her like 3.5 months later. And little Nora, she's so cute. And I don't know if you have grandchildren, but
3.
You have 3, so everybody would always tell us, and here's the whole family. And so we have Nora has a stepsister, Grace, who's a great influence for her, and she's just so sweet. So that's Eric, who works here, and you've seen him.
Oh,
and so everybody would always say, oh, being a grandparent is just so fantastic. And I would say, I can imagine that, but it's amazing.
Yeah.
She just melts your heart.
Yeah.
So I love that. So we've actually had her on some spendovers at our house, and she's it's like whatever she wants. Yeah, she gets. So she's beautiful. We love it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Maybe she'll just be running the place one day, huh?
Oh, hey, maybe, because she's 4th generation.
Yeah, that'd be something else.
Yep.
Oh, Jim, thanks for taking the time today, man. It's so good to get to know you a little bit better, and I think everybody's going to really appreciate this.
Hey, John. Well, thank you. Appreciate it, and thank you to all of Folsom. So they've supported us all these years, and we really appreciate it.
Love it. All right, brother. Yeah. Well, peace, love, and daily resets to you.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.